Hey, how's it going, guys? My name's Oscar Mikey, and today we're going to be taking a look at some weapons for Cerr Sievert. We're doing another guide, and we're going to be talking about the 9x18 weapons. There's a handful of them, and I'm just going to give you guys a brief rundown so you guys know what's up with them and which ones are good and how to use them. And we're also going to be going over the ammo as well. So getting right into it, there's 5 9x18 weapons in the game. First of all, there's the Moose, BB-19 Moose, the BB-91 Cerr, the Spider, the ETS, and the PN Pokarov. Little side note, there is a 9x19 version of the Moose as well. It does 1 more point of damage, I believe, but essentially the stats are all the same. Same fire rate, same magazine capacity, same ergonomics, and all that kind of stuff. First off, let's start with the Moose. This thing obviously is a 9x18 submachine gun. It comes with a 64 round magazine, fires at 720 rounds per minute, does 11 damage, 67 accuracy, 55 recoil, and 69 ergonomics. I really like this thing. This is my new, like the Spider used to be my favorite 9x18 submachine gun in the game, but this one has officially dethroned it. This was added a little while ago, mainly because of the magazine capacity. It's huge. It's a 64 round magazine, and you really can't go wrong with it. It does the same amount of damage as the Spider, but you got all that ammo to work with, and the more ammo you have in a magazine, obviously the better it is. This is great for going in and clearing like a bunch of bandits. If you find bandit camps, you can go in and just grease all those guys really quick. Fire rate of 720 rounds a minute is very respectable, and it's the same as a Spider actually, but you can't get a magazine upgrade for this thing. It only holds 30. This has over double. So I really like this weapon. It is definitely a good choice for early game. And yeah, I think it's really great. So let's move on to the next weapon. This is the Cerr, the BB-91. This thing has the same damage as the Moose. It's got 11 damage, 68 accuracy, 55 recoil, 70 ergonomics. And the big differentiating factor with this one is its fire rate. It's got a 1200 rounds per minute fire rate, which is insanely fast. It's absolutely ludicrous when you go in and you fight with this thing. It's crazy. But the biggest downside of this gun is the magazine capacity. You can only get a max magazine size of 30 with it. There's no like 50 round options, so you can absolutely delete people. You can delete low-level bandits and monsters and, you know, wolves and that kind of stuff very, very quickly just based on that fire rate alone. But you're gonna have to make sure you land those shots, because if you just blow a whole magazine and you miss most of those shots, your enemy's still up, you got to pop a reload, and then you might be in trouble unless you can get to cover and complete that reload. So just make sure you keep that in mind whenever you use this thing, because it can be great, but it can also be your undoing. Now we're moving on to the Spider. This gun used to be my favorite like early game gun. It was just so good. It was pretty accurate. It was easy to control, and it had 30 rounds of 9x18. It was an all-around great gun, but the Moose eventually, when that came in, that eclipsed it. But it's still a fine gun. You can find these very commonly on forest and you know, on low-level bandits and stuff, level 1s, level 2s. This thing again does 11 damage just like the last 2 guns. It's got 65 accuracy, 58 recoil, 60 ergonomics, fires at 720 rounds per minute, and it's got a 30 round magazine. This one has no magazine upgrade options. The Moose has better accuracy and it has better ergonomics. The Moose is just overall a better weapon. So if you can find this thing before you find this, I wouldn't even bother using it. And now we're getting into the pistols. This is basically a fully automatic pistol, the ETS. It does 15 damage, so a few more points than any of the submachine guns. 15 damage, 70 accuracy, 80 recoil, quite a bit more recoil than the submachine guns. I mean, it's a handgun, it doesn't have a stock, right? Although you can get a stock for it to modify it. It's got 72 ergonomics, a fire rate of 720, and a 20 round magazine. You can't get a magazine upgrade with this, but you can go in and clear out some bandits pretty easily. That extra damage does make quite a difference, I've found. This used to be so fun. I mean, they nerfed it into the ground a little while ago. It's actually not that common. You don't see a lot of bandits running around with this thing. Actually, I basically never see any like NPCs running around with it. You can find it in loot boxes, in weapon boxes or ammo boxes, and I believe you can get it as a reward for a couple of quests. I think this may be a good option if you like to play scout or sniper and you need a good secondary, something like a handgun to pull out really quick. Because I mean, 15 damage with 9x18, that's pretty sweet. And it shoots really fast. You can get a lot of rounds on target really quickly. And definitely as far as 9x18 goes, I think this is the better sidearm to use out of the 2 pistols that are available. And speaking of 2 pistols, let's move on to the last 9x18 weapon. This is the PN Pokarov, and this does the same damage as the ETS. It's got 62 accuracy, 93 recoil, 70 ergonomics, and 450 rounds per minute. This is a semi-automatic only. It doesn't go full auto, and it's got a teeny tiny little 10 round magazine. You can't get a mag upgrade for this. It works, it functions, but this is the gun you get in some of the starting kits in the game. So You want to get over this as soon as you can. Even, we're not talking about it today, but the Kokorev, which is 7.62 by 25, that is a better handgun than this. So if you can get your hands on that at least, that'll be better. Anything, literally any other gun is better than this. Now let's take a look at the ammo. We got 2 types of ammo for 9x18. So you've got your base rounds, which is PS, and then you've got your armor piercing, which is PBM. The PS rounds have 12 penetration power, and they have a durability burn of 0.010. So durability burn is how many points of durability you're going to be losing on the weapon per shot. So every time you fire a shot out of the PM, you're going to be losing 0.01 points of durability per shot. And then you have PBM, which has 25 penetration and a durability burn that's double, 0.020. As far as penetration goes, I don't know how like the numbers behind the scenes work. You want to try and use ammo that has the armor class that you're fighting against times 10. So PS would be good for class 1 armor. 1 times 10 is 10. This has 12 penetration. So 9x18 PS is going to work really well for class 1 armor. And you can use it for class 2 bandits as well. It'll work for those guys. You're going to have to shoot them a few more times, but it will work for that. PBM, on the other hand, has a penetration of 25, so this is going to work really well for class 2 bandits, and it is definitely usable for class 3 as well. I would not try and use 9x18 PBM on class 4. That is definitely outside of what this ammo is supposed to be used for. At that point, I would definitely be going up to medium-sized calibers like 5.45 or 5.56 or 7.62 by 39. 9x18 is definitely meant to be used against low-tier bandits and weaker creatures like wolves or boars or that kind of thing. Now, let's go into the hideout, and I just want to show you guys how these weapons can be modified at the bench. We'll start with the moose. There's a few stocks that you can install on this thing. These are all the EC stocks, basically all the ones that you can install on like the EC74 and the ECM. They have varying like levels of recoil control and ergonomics. 22 and 5, 27 and 8, 32 and 11. This one is really good, EC stock, but the US stock, this one here, the US is the best one that you can get for it. It's 38 recoil control and 12 ergonomics. The stock build of the gun comes with the Salve pistol grip. It has 4 ergonomics. You can get it in a different color if you want. You can get a tan version, and then you've also got the stock like EC grips, which come with 2 ergonomics. So not really any reason to change it. You already have the best one out of the box on it. And then you also have a 9x18 suppressor. You can put a suppressor on all of these guns, actually. The suppressor does -5 recoil, but it takes away 4 points of ergonomics, which honestly isn't that bad. All these weapons have pretty good ergonomics out of the box, and it's not really something I would worry about. Going into scopes, you can use pretty much any scope in the game on these guns. You can put a sniper scope on it if you want. I don't recommend that because submachine guns are not going to be doing any damage to your targets out past like a medium range, but you will get like more accuracy and viewing distance with them. It's up to you. You can do what you want, but you can slap a red dot on there, and something like this is going to give you more recoil control and ergonomics. Going to give you a little bit more view distance too. So that's definitely the direction that I would go personally. Just really like minimize that recoil. You can get it down super low. For that, the Hideout dot is going to be your best option. This gives you -7 recoil and +5 ergonomics. Moving on to your attachments, this is an attachment to the side of the gun, and you can put a laser or a flashlight on there if you want. Unfortunately, you can't put any grips on it because under here, this is the magazine, so this has to be removable, and obviously you can't put a grip where the magazine is. Next up is the Cerr. There's not many modifications you can do with it. There is a handguard you can put on it, and that enables it to accept flashlights, and I don't think you can put grips on this one either. You can only put lasers and flashlights on this thing. Magazines, you only have the 2 options. You got the 20 rounder and the 30 rounder here. 30 rounder takes away a couple of points of ergonomics, but honestly, it's not a big deal. It starts pretty high out of the box. Muzzle attachments, we got the suppressor again. Scopes, we have all the same options. We can throw on the Hideout dot sight there, gives us more recoil control. And then again, going down here, you got some laser and light options if you want. Next up is the Spider. This is one of the least modifiable guns in the game. All you have is the suppressor option on it. So there's no magazines, you can't put grips on it or lights on it or anything like that, no stock options. And it's a very sad little gun. It kind of brings a tear to my eye because I used to love this gun so much. But slap the suppressor on there and it'll give you that 5 points of recoil and 4 of ergonomics. Moving on to the ETS, you can pimp this out and turn it into basically a submachine gun. There is a stock option for it. You can slap this thing on and it'll give you -27 recoil and +11 ergonomics. So that really brings down the recoil quite a bit. And the ergonomics on this thing are crazy because it's just so small. You can swap to this thing super fast from another gun. Muzzle attachments, we got a couple of options here. We got some muzzle brakes and the suppressor. The muzzle brakes themselves, these even further reduce the recoil. This has -8 recoil, and it takes away some ergonomics, 5 points, but it adds 1 point of damage. This one here does 1 damage point as well, but it doesn't do as much for the recoil, and it takes away a little bit less ergonomics. So this is definitely the preferable one if you're trying to like min-max that recoil. And then down here we have all the same scope options. You can throw on this thing or, you know, one of the other red dot options. This one has better ergonomics points. The Millo Sun red dot is kind of like a middle ground. It's got 6 recoil and 7 ergonomics. And then of course you can throw on like a big sniper scope on it if you want to just like, if you're looking for a vibe or whatever. And then the final attachment slot is a light or a laser. There's no grip options for this. Moving on to the final weapon, the little PN Pokerov. There's only one option for it. You can slap the suppressor on if you want, and we have access to the muzzle brakes as well. The PPD muzzle brake, which gives us 6 recoil, -4 ergonomics, and 1 damage. And then this one, the TVS, which gives us -8 recoil, -5 ergonomics, and 1 damage. The Moose is definitely my favorite just because of the ammo capacity, and you can modify it quite a bit. You can get like a juicy stock on it, throw that suppressor on, and throw a sight on, and it becomes quite a weapon. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video, guys. This quick little guide on 9x18. If you did enjoy this video or found it helpful, make sure to leave a like on the video. It really helps me with my YouTube algorithm overlords and getting us discovered and growing the channel and all that. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you get subscribed so you don't miss any future guide videos like this. Thanks again for watching, guys. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you in the next video.